3, 2, 1. Alrighty, so on today's little get-together we got going on here, got my buddy Ben Minnix, got Mike Barton, got Ridge Adkins. Today we're going to try to stay along the lines of hunting. It could go quickly off the rails and potentially hit innocent bystanders just like, a Ford Mustang might. But that's what we're going to try to stick with. Fellas, how are y'all doing today?
Pretty good, man.
Pretty good. A little chilly, though. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. A little rainy.
Little drizzling outside.
A little drizzle out there. Rain inside, drizzle outside.
Hey, it'd be like that some days, man. So, here's something to kind of throw out there here. What do y'all think is the best type of hunting to get a new person into hunting with?
That's kind of tough.
It is. But if somebody came up to you 20 years old and was like, hey, look, really want to get into hunting, see y'all out there doing it, what are we going to go do? Like, what is the type of, would it be a small game? Would it be a large game? What would be the hook for them? So, that it gets set in there just like it's set in with us.
I think that it would have to be something that you know the most about. So, like, I'm not saying I know a lot about it, but for me, if someone's like, hey, you want to go hunting? First thing I think of is white-tailed deer. You know what I mean? That's where I think I can tell you or teach you the most. Is it going to be the most fun hunt? Probably not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you're if you're talking to somebody that's really active or is going to get bored easy or doesn't like the cold, then probably like some type of bird hunt is going to be the way to go. Something a bit more fast paced.
Or even squirrels.
That was my
There's
first.
a lot of squirrels.
That was my first hunt. Was
Mine too.
22 long rifles,
Yep.
out just chasing in the woods, not knowing what you're doing. Sit down, let a little tree rat come up to you, and just close one eye and yeah, exactly. Hope for the best on it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I guess when I started, it was deer hunting, and then I was real small, 5, 6 years old, and we saw a squirrel, and I had like one of them little cricket 22s,
Oh yeah.
And Dad's like, you want to shoot it? I'm like, you can do that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I feel like squirrel hunting would be a good one too.
Yeah. I didn't start deer hunting until I was a little older.
And I didn't grow up in a hunting household. Like, my dad would go out and sit in the woods, but it wasn't nothing anywhere near like, the itch for it. Yeah. And it was like, oh, you're going to go hunting? What do? You go grab your closest, whatever that you had laying around. You grabbed a lawn chair, you found a spot, you sat down and hoped for the best. That's how I learned how to hunt. Now, yet again, not the greatest hunter in the world. But that's how it started with me, was just buddies. And it was like, hey, let's go sit out in the woods, see what happens.
Yeah.
Mine would probably have to be deer hunting, just because that's what I started out with. And I do probably know more about deer hunting than anything else that I hunt.
Up for debate.
Yeah, I mean, seems like every time me and Mike go hunting, we never really kill any deer. Or he doesn't kill any deer, but anyway, he always helps me out to gut mine and drag mine out and stuff.
Is the guide supposed to shoot the animal for you?
I mean, I seen you shoot one. I give you that.
Yeah. So I'm on the board.
Yeah.
Chalk up the tally.
Yeah. Mike, 1.
That's it. So another thing I had wrote down here is like, what do you think is the funnest type of hunting to do?
I'm going to have to say turkey hunting. Either turkey hunting or duck hunting. That'd be a hard decision for me. But some kind of bird hunting is a lot funner than just deer hunting for me at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I fully agree. Like, for me, I would have to say it would be like dove. And it's because it breaks pretty much every rule of hunting that you learned growing up.
Yes.
When you see them flying over, you're yelling at your buddies. You're telling them where they're coming in at. They don't spook that easy. You're sitting down, you're standing up, you're moving. Doesn't really matter. So for me that's definitely one of the more on the fun side to have out there.
Yeah.
I think for me, it would probably have to be the time of year. Like,
If
it's November, I like turkey hunting. I like dove hunting. I'm getting into ducks. I like ducks, but I'm going to the tree stand. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going.
Yep.
I know what's
For
out
sure.
there. That's where I'm headed. I'm going to have a good time regardless. But if it's summertime, like you were saying, dove hunting's going to be the way to go. But, you know, turkey's the king of spring. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
sure.
I can't really pick what's going to be my favorite or the most fun or nothing like that. I think that's one good thing about the hunting seasons and regulations and all that. You always got something to do. And I might have a good time regardless. So,
Yeah. Amen. That's a good answer. That's a real good answer.
appreciate that.
Yeah, because it's tough, man. It's real tough to decide on that. And thanks to Ridge, I got to go duck hunting for the first time yesterday, and that seems like it's gonna be a lot of fun, you know. So I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I agree with you though. I think as long as you're hanging out with your boys, you know, and you're I mean, shit, that's about it, really. We're having a good time right now, so we ain't even got to be hunting.
Yeah.
But hunting makes it 10 times better.
Yeah, and
You know?
there's some sort of camaraderie when you got your boys together,
Yeah.
just like golfing or anything like
Yeah.
that. Like golfing's fun by yourself, but you get the boys together, oh, it might get turned up to 11
Well,
by accident, on purpose, regardless of how it is. It might accidentally get a little bump up there.
Yeah. You
it'd be
definitely have
like
a good
that.
time.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, though. If you could only hunt one thing for the rest of your life, like seasons are going to stay the same. You can't hunt all year or nothing. Like you can only hunt one season, hunt one animal. What are you going to hunt?
Well, you're gonna make us pick our favorite now, ain't you?
I'm just saying.
It's 6 minutes in. Here we go. Now the hard questions start.
For me, that's easy. So I thought it was an easier question.
Well, what is yours?
It's going to be deer hunting, man.
Yeah. Okay.
That's where I started. That's where I plan on finishing if I can.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about turkey hunting to put that up there, but the stories I've heard, it sounds addictive.
It is.
Boy.
Yeah.
But as I'm sitting here right now today, I'd have to chase whitetails.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna go with duck hunting, just because of the challenge, and it's something I got into a little bit later in life, and I've had to do a lot of it on my own. And just the best hunt I've had this year has been duck hunting. Had actually several good moments this year, and I really feel like that's probably the most addicting thing I've done in the hunting scene so far.
Benjamin?
Oh, Benny boy.
Man, that's a real tough one, man. I caught my first turkey in last year, and you know that has just, I don't know, it's kind of opened up my eyes to hunting. But I mean, before that, it was just whitetail. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you'd asked me before last year, it was no question about it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. It's something about hearing that gobble.
Oh, you ain't lying.
That
No,
time blowing
it
your
don't-
hat back.
Yeah.
You ain't lying.
It don't make sense though, because we can shoot what 5 or 6 deer here with Ernebuck. Something like
think so.
that. I
Yeah,
think
something
it's
like that.
I think it's 6 deer,
Yeah.
3 does, 3 bucks.
Yeah.
yeah, 6 deer. So
But,
it don't make sense. You get a lot more meat off a deer than you do off 3 turkeys. You know.
yeah.
But I don't know. It'd have to be between the two though, whitetail or turkey.
Yeah.
I'd say.
I don't know. I guess it kind of also goes to like what Ridge was saying, like his favorite moment or like memory is when with the ducks. I guess mine's always been with deer.
Yeah.
Like some of the best hunting times I've ever had is when I was holding a set of antlers with or without somebody.
Yeah. I feel
Like
you.
there's something to
There's a buzz.
early November
I mean,
Yeah.
with a grunt tube in your hand, and then you see that. I'm not gonna say a 200 inch because I ain't that guy. 100-inch whitetail comes over that hill
Yeah.
and you hit that, and you're like, "Boy,
Yeah.
oh, dude!" The whole
Yeah.
stand shaking at that point.
Yeah, it's definitely something about it, man.
Yeah,
But
again, depending on the season. So
yeah,
like,
it depends on the season.
I am interested in some of this trapping stuff though.
I would like to get into it, man.
Yeah.
Especially with today's like technology and cell cams and stuff. You can your harder sets that are a mile or 2 away. If say they are, you can put a camera on them, so you don't necessarily have to go check it every day. You can check your shorter sets. And,
Yeah, you can check it without leaving the house.
yeah.
Yeah,
So you're not really bringing in any sort of scent trail
Yeah,
or
you're not
anything
being
out there.
unethical about not checking. it,
Right,
you know?
exactly.
yeah,
Because I think at the heart of it all, like, I know everybody sitting here is you want to be as ethical as possible.
Yeah.
Nobody has ever felt good about putting a bad shot on a deer.
No, absolutely not.
No, and
It's happened to all of us.
it does.
Yeah.
And those are the tracks that you track the longest. Is, when old Reggie Poo over there.
Don't mind us.
But it's those tracks that, when you let the arrow off and the deer ducked.
Yeah.
Or when you're taking a 400-yard shot when you're not specifically, confident in it.
Yeah.
But those are the ones that you sit there and put hours into walking through the woods on your hands and knees looking for the slightest sign to be able to recover the animal, because nobody wants to make an animal suffer. You just want it to be lights out as quick as possible. You go take care of it. Everything's fine. You get to feed your family. You get to feed your friends. You get stories to talk about. It's kind of like the legacy of it. So,
Yeah.
But,
Ben, I'm going to go back on this whole using a cell cam for trapping and stuff. You could also put it on video and, see how the animals react to your set
That is a very good point.
and learn from it. I've never done that. I just got into getting some cell cams, but I'm definitely thinking about trying that now that you brought it up about using a cell cam on it.
now they
that's a
know
real
we
good
got
idea.
money. Just got into cell cams. Now they know we got money.
I mean, they're expensive and they're,
Very useful, though.
but
Yeah, dude.
that it's just
You can
the
catch 'em on
convenience,
sale.
man. The convenience is almost worth what it costs.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
100%.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially for a lazy hunter like myself. Yeah.
Yeah, getting Mike out of the truck's hard enough.
Hard.
Get me out of bed, it's hard, man.
Yeah, we can all agree to that.
Ben is definitely an evening hunter, for sure.
Hey, look,
No, he's at
For sure.
that late morning, 11:30, 11:45.
Yeah.
They say most
No.
big bucks are killed, between like 11 and 1. So
I'm
Ben's
not gonna
hitting that
miss
window.
it. I'm not gonna miss it. I'm just gonna miss sunrise.
Have y'all seen
Not
that
gonna miss
video?
the hunt.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Have y'all seen that video of the guy? They're going hunting early in the morning, and they're at this gas station, and he takes a video of his buddy eating a gravy biscuit, and he's like, "Dude, come on!" And the guy's like, "What's the dang rush? We missed daylight. Let me eat my gravy biscuit." That's Ben in a nutshell, right there.
Yeah.
We're gonna get there.
Yeah.
So
It's gonna be okay.
yeah.
Because 90% of the time, for me at least, I feel like I don't know if I've ever shot a buck necessarily at first light. I've maybe seen does at first light, yeah, but I don't think I've ever seen them.
To have those problems,
Buck at first
not just, we wait for the bucks around here. I ain't about putting up a freezer queen real quick in a hurry, man.
speak for yourself.
Yeah, I do it.
Shoot.
I'm still gonna go, but if I don't wake up in time, it's not the end of the world,
Yeah.
I try not, because it unfortunately happens to me an awful lot, so I just had to get used to it at some point,
The one thing that I have learned about,
Don't change your sleep schedule. Don't do that.
No.
You just get there when you can.
Yeah.
the thing I have learned about taking directions from Ben is, it was opening day of bow season this year, and got a good little group up, some guys who aren't here that would definitely be Dale, yeah. But that would definitely be interesting on here. So, me and Ben were walking in, and I was like, "Hey, where am I going?" He was like, "Oh, it's a box blind just up here on the hill. Ain't that bad." And I was like, "All right." Felt like 35 minutes of walking a straight incline,
Sweating.
sweating, just stinking it up. I was like, well, didn't bring the scent away with me. Probably should have took that. Climbing up the side of this mountain. And I was like, Ben, how far away? He's like, oh, dude, not that much further. So another 5 minutes goes by. I'm like, dude, I'm ready for a fudge round and inhaler real quick. Like, this is getting rough. And finally top the hill, sit down. You're like, oh, man. Oh, dude. Like, the deodorant is starting to kick in now, so now you smell like Old Spice and Cinnaway out there. But as Jeff Foxworthy said, that might bring them in, though. They might not know the smell.
I know none of us. Well,
Curiosity
I
killed
did.
the cat.
You're right.
we
You're
didn't
right.
check the wind that morning. I didn't anyway. I was committed to where I was going. You know,
That's right.
so it
Confidence.
could have been in your favor. I don't know. I wasn't over there.
It didn't really matter, man. We had quite a few people with us, so I feel like
Oh, we were stinging it up.
either way,
It
somebody's
was
gonna be in a bad spot.
And it didn't help the guy, working on a chainsaw at 7 o'clock in the morning at daylight and
With the radio.
with the
Yeah,
radio
bonfire.
going, and the fire going.
That freaking guy.
Everybody was upset, and I'm like, y'all do realize he's just kind of pushing them back in the woods, right? Like, he's at his house, he's just keeping them out of the fields.
Yeah.
I was like, that's fine. Yeah.
But we did put down 3 that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Opening morning a bow.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
Like Caleb, right there at daylight. First thing.
Folded it like a fourth grade leaf.
Golly, that was gold. First thing.
Had a group chat going in the text messages. It was full of memes. And it got to the point of see who can make who laugh in the deer stand.
Oh, I was
for a
cracking
while.
up. Granted, I was, like Rich was saying, I was back at the truck for a hot minute. So I was scared. I won't say it. I was scared.
You also got pinned in by a bear.
That's
didn't
what I'm
you?
saying.
Yeah.
I was scared.
Oh, I
You know?
forgot about
I didn't realize if he was a little bear or a big bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's his
Sitting-
house.
How far away was it from your stand?
Mike
Maybe
told me he
10
was sitting
yards.
in the seat.
Yeah, basically, I would have had to step over him to get to the ladder. I mean, he was right there.
I mean,
Mike replied with one of the best quotes. Daylight hits. Mike just sends a text, and all it says is, "All right, I'm going to go to the stand." Like, he sent a picture of the bear. Like, we all agree there was a bear there. I think it was it Jonathan that sent back. He said, "You're not in the stand yet?" And Mike replies with, "Can't fight bears in the dark, bud." It was one of the best text messages I've ever read in my life.
Yeah. So, if anybody does listen to this and they're sitting on the edge of their seat, the bear was gone. I made it to the stand.
To all the tens of people listening.
Yeah, just so y'all know, the bear was gone. But, the thought did cross my mind, I will say, to let an arrow fly.
Poke it with the stick.
I
Yep.
don't blame you.
But, again, I didn't know how big he was. So,
Yeah.
say you poke a bear with a stick and he stands up and he looks even bigger.
Yeah.
Can I outrun a bear? Maybe. Can I outrun one uphill? Probably not.
He said,
And I'm not running downhill to him.
you'd be better off outrunning it with an arrow in it than you would just still alive, perfectly good.
Maybe.
That's
Well, you say that.
true.
Let's just an example.
Theoretically.
Let's say you're in an altercation with someone, okay, and they shoot you in the thigh with a 22. Are you gonna go after him, or are you gonna go, "Oh man, I shouldn't chase you. You just shot me."
Hopefully, in the right scenario, I just pull out my own gun. Because
Because
most of them, I don't carry a 22.
I'm
You
just
got
saying. I feel like if someone hit me in the leg with a 22, the adrenaline would take over, and I'd be like, "Oh hell no!" You know what I mean?
I mean, have y'all heard the story about how the 22 revolver saved a guy from a grizzly attack?
No.
Yeah,
No,
he
that-
shot his brother-in-law in the leg.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
That
so
would do it.
I guess you wouldn't be running then. You'd be down.
Yeah.
Because obviously that guy
And
didn't.
then,
Brother-in-law? Mm-hmm. Well, that's not too bad.
No,
yeah.
that ain't
Not-
the-
not
that ain't-
blood-
that
not
ain't the
blood or
bloodline
anything.
in there. So something I had lined up here is, how do you think we are on the verge of having hogs up here? We're in Southwest Virginia. We're not too far from the state line. So how do you think that hogs are going to interact, and how do you think it's going to react to current hunting situations? Because I know hogs will tear up fields, and they're guaranteed to tear up any sort of food plot that you may have out. Mm-hmm. So the time, the effort, the money that you have put into it's gone. Yeah. And it looks like somebody went through there with the potato plow. And it's, just something that I've always had on my mind is like, what do y'all, just, typical everyday hunters, is that too much out of the way? Like, I mean, probably more serious than some, but not die hard, take off 3 months out of the year to go hunt kind of guys.
Well, I just can't afford to.
Yeah, I just can't afford to.
I would. I would if I could, but it's just not in the budget.
Like I said,
I like having nice stuff to hunt with. And that kind of interferes with taking off time to hunt.
That's a good point.
but what's your opinion on when the hogs get here, because it's a matter of time. They started in South Carolina. They're already in North Carolina that we know of. Tennessee. I mean, we're getting hit from both sides of it.
They're devastating to the land, like you said,
right?
Which is terrible. But like for us, man, I'll kill a pig in a heartbeat. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and I think anybody here would.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, looking at the three guys in front of me here, don't think we've ever turned down a plate of bacon.
Yeah, exactly.
No. Not once.
No. Don't plan on it.
Don't plan on it. So they'll be fun to hunt if they ever get up here, but obviously, I don't think we necessarily want them here.
I do not want them here.
I would rather them not be here. But if they're going to show up, I'm going to kill them.
Exactly.
I mean, that's all you can do. Try to control the population the best you can, like you do with every other animal.
Yeah. I'm throwing everything I got at them.
Unlike the squirrels at my house.
Yeah,
they're very overpopulated. But only when you're deer hunting. When you're squirrel hunting, you only see like one or two.
Yeah. But if pigs make it here, it'll be a sad day, and I'm not kidding. 12 gauge, 22, 270, grenade launcher. If I got it, I don't care. Time, day, night, whatever. They're dead. Get out of here.
How do you think, though, that deer population is going to react to that, though? That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I would have to say that any sort of whitetail or any sort of big game here.
Yeah.
Whitetail or, turkey or anything like that is going to get pushed. And they're probably going to get pushed out.
Yeah, and then that ain't happening. Not around here, partner.
No.
It all depends on where the pigs go, though. Because I know in Tennessee, the only place I ever saw pigs was up in the mountains. So, we don't necessarily hunt in the mountains. A lot of our spots are more at the base or, along the way.
We live in a valley.
So, yeah. But if the pigs go to the mountains, it's potential that they push the big mountain bucks our way.
That's an interesting insight.
Yeah, maybe. But at the same time, we don't want the pigs here. No. That's definitely not what I'm saying. I'd rather go in the mountains and chase the mountain bucks than
for real.
Have them just pushed out of their habitat down here because that's not good for the deer population.
No. But at the same time, where we live in a valley, all of our food is low. Corn,
water
apples,
too.
Water. It's all low, so why would they go up a mountain?
I don't know, man. I'm just going off of what I saw in Tennessee. Like, I never saw any pigs low. The only time I saw them were when we were four-wheeling through pretty high terrain.
Should have just...
Yeah. It wasn't my four-wheeler, man.
Well, that's very considerate.
So if you get a rental car, you'll dog it. But if you're on a rental four-wheeler, it's different.
It wasn't
insurance.
Rental. It was
Insurance.
Like, one of my buddies'
Did he check the box on the rental car? Did he get the total insurance on it?
I don't know.
Hey, dude, I went to Richmond one time for the race. The lady was like, "Hey, do you want the insurance on the car?" I said, "Yes." Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, like I will take pictures of it, but if I bring you back the steering wheel, you know what happened out here. Like, I had an old guy tell me one time about he let his buddy borrow his car, and he was like, "What happens if I wreck it?" Just joking around, BS with your boys. And he's like, "Bring me back the steering wheel." Well, the guy flipped the car 4 times.
Oh, shit.
Somehow he ripped the steering wheel out of the car and drug it back to him and handed it back to the man. It was like, "Here you go." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Man, well, if I wrecked it, you told me to bring back the steering wheel."
Common courtesy these days.
Non-existent.
So, something else. What do you think is the best bang for your buck hunt? As far as time, effort, money, what do you think is the best? Like, if you were going after a budget-friendly hunt, what would be the best budget hunt out there?
Oh, a budget hunt? A 22 and squirrels all day long. I mean, because you can get a cheap 22, the bullets are super cheap. And you just walk around, and as soon as you see one, you kind of walk around, trying to get around the tree, find it, and shoot it. I mean, it's a very simple process.
Or a
shotgun. Either way, you're going to spend $300-$400, and you're going to be good to hunt.
Right. You still have you will be able to invest that money and see almost an immediate return out of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say squirrels or dove. Some type of small game that's gonna be the way to go.
Dove's a lot harder to hit, Mike.
This is true.
To somebody that ain't never hunted before, squirrel might be hard to hit.
Well,
I know a couple guys that shot squirrels and never found them. I'm not gonna say any names, but I know some guys.
who would have done something like that, Mike?
I don't know.
All right, then. I
We
know
followed the
me.
blood trail for
I didn't
5
say it was
hours.
you.
I know. You just said you just keep looking at me funny.
Because I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
We tracked the blood trail for 5 hours.
Couldn't find nothing.
Couldn't find nothing. He must have laid down somewhere. He must have laid down the pine patch. Never ever seen him since.
It's bedded up somewhere. I don't know.
Shit.
When I first got into hunting, I was talking about there's a pine patch next to they're planted pines next to the land that I was hunting on, and I was talking to a guy and I said, you know, we trailed everything up to the we trailed everything up to the line of the pines, and you know, I was like, hey, we just eventually lost it. Like, you know, it's one of them. You put the time, you put the effort in, couldn't find it. He's like, well, you know what they'll do, right? And this was an old guy I used to work with. He said, them deer are smart. He's like, they'll get over there next to them pine trees with that sap, start rubbing their wounds on the sap. I said, what are you talking about? He said, I don't know, I'm full of shit. But he said, that's what I've always heard, man. Them deer rub that pine sap in there, and then you won't ever hear nothing from them. They'll just seal it up and keep on running.
They won't hear nothing. They won't call you back.
Hey, that's the Deerwood super glue.
Left you on red. Just nothing with it.
Ghosted by a whitetail.
Hashtag blessed.
Hey, I got ghosted by too many this year.
Yeah,
like
I know the feeling.
Very depressing. Very depressing.
Yeah. Let's not bring that up.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's part of the world. Part of the world.
So, something else, you know, does anybody have a hunter they looked up to? You know, we grew up in the YouTube era of things, you know, Michael Waddell or
Stud.
hashtag blessed right there.
For real.
But, you know, does any of y'all have a hunter that you looked up to? And, you know, the tag bone collector is tough.
That is tough.
It's very tough. It's a good one. So,
Yeah.
you know, just curious to see y'all's thoughts on that. If you had one, or, you know, Bill Jordan's or anything like that.
I was never a huge fan of the Jordans, but growing up, Dad always would buy them DVDs of the big bucks, you know, XVII,
Bucks.
Monster
Yeah.
Bucks, whatever. And my favorite to watch was Michael Waddell. I actually got to meet that dude. He came to the now it's the Berglund Center, but he came there for a little like hunting expo, and I got to meet him, and he signed a lighter for me. Super cool dude. But yeah, what's the dude? His cameraman. I watch him all the time now. Oh, Philip Culpepper.
Oh yeah,
Dude, I watch him all the time, dude. I really like that guy.
He's really cool.
Yeah, and both of those guys
Seems
are
like a real
nasty
good dude,
with the
too.
turkeys, man. Nasty
for
with
sure.
the turkeys.
For sure.
So
Man, that's honestly how I got my, I don't know, inspiration, I guess, to want to hunt so much was watching Outdoor Channel growing up. You know, it went from like Scooby-Doo and cartoons straight to Outdoor Channel.
yeah,
There was no in between for me. So
yeah,
that's really when I got into like deer hunting.
Scooby Doo goes hard.
it
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo
I
stuff.
still
I'm a
watch
huge Scooby-Doo
Scooby-Doo
guy.
man. Yeah. Hell yeah.
yeah.
But
Watching that on like a Sunday morning.
yeah,
was
or like
all
Lee
heck
and
yeah.
Tiffany, you know.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
or Jim Shockey.
Yeah,
Oh,
Jim
they're shooting
Shockey,
alligators
for
with a
sure.
muzzleloader?
Yeah.
Cool dude.
Yeah, super cool dude.
What about you, Rigid?
I'm probably going to go with Jury. Is it like Jury Outdoors?
Jury.
Oh, yeah.
See, I haven't watched them in
Yeah.
a while. You know, just don't really watch a lot of TV or YouTube much anymore. But I used to watch them all the time growing up, and they just seem to always kill big deer and have a good reason why they did it.
Yep.
And it was just always seemed like very good information to learn from them. And and Chris Brackett too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a good one I liked watching also.
What about you, Rain?
Here lately, as it goes, the hunting pressure.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Those guys they're dudes who hunt.
Yeah, they're
for
legit.
sure.
Yeah, and that is the closest I could say to my friend group hunting.
Yeah.
Is they're just laid back. They might be from Michigan. They still go out there and make it happen, though.
Yeah.
But just how they talk, how they act. To me, if you want to know how a non-fenced, non-guided hunt works, it is you and your boys, or you and your boy out there just hoping for the best. Put yourself in the best of the worst case scenarios that you have.
Yep.
And swing for fences.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good definition. That
I mean,
sounds about right.
And two, I had an issue with Michael Waddell growing up. I don't know what it was, and I think it's just the fact of growing, older and starting to be like, you didn't like stuff because they were real tree when you were a Mossio guy.
Yeah.
Like it was like a sports team kind of deal. Like if you liked the Cowboys, you didn't like the Commanders. Kind
I'm
of.
still like that.
They won no Commanders back then, Rain.
Well, but
they was the Washington Redskins. They still weren't that good, but they were still, they wasn't freaking Commanders.
valid. But it's for some reason I had this rivalry in my head that I just didn't like Michael Waddell. Then he goes on the Joe Rogan podcast that I listen to. Don't know if any of y'all have listened to that one, but it wasn't about 200-inch deer. It wasn't about tracking the biggest buck you've ever seen in your life. It was talking about the small, doing deer drives. Yep. It was the back to just, this is what hunting is. This is what it's about.
Back to tradition, really. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
I remember doing deer drives when I was younger. I mean, getting to go hang out with people a lot older than me, do cool stuff like that. It was a great time.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and it's dying out, to be honest.
Well, and
I haven't went on a deer drive in probably 8 years.
Well, and
we can fix that.
You know what? Next year.
Let's do it.
This year, I guess, technically now.
Oh yeah.
2025 coming in hot.
We'll do it.
Still that month of can't keep it together.
But also too, I think the other half of it is that people don't have the access to land that they used to.
Yeah.
A lot of people are coming in and just snagging up property.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, hey, if I had the money, I would. I'd be glad to go out here and tag, 400 or 500 acres. Don't have that ability. And some people do, and it's kind of like getting mad at a card hand when somebody got dealt out of the deck better than you. It's like, you just kind of wash it off and make the best of what you got, and hopefully you don't lose your house. But I think that's one of the
camper, though.
On the 400 acres.
You can always
400 acres.
You can always sleep in a car, but you can't drive a house.
Dedication.
That's a good point, man. We was doing this deer drive one time. We used to hunt down in Botetourt on some old family land. I really don't even know the whole stories. Something on my mom's side. But it was 4 or 5 of us, and I was definitely the youngest. I was like probably 8. Definitely, in my mind, I was not ready to be stuck in the middle of the woods by myself and somewhere I never knew. And Dad was like, all right, you're going to sit right here. And I was like, okay, that sounds good. Where are you sitting at? And he just, oh, we're going that way. Well, when are you going to be back? When we're done. What do you want me to do? Sit here. Okay. So what's the plan? He's like, well, we're going to go over here. We're going to walk this way and hopefully push some deer this way or whatever. And I was like, so if I see a deer, just shoot it. And he was like, yeah. All right. Okay. This is coming from sitting with my dad in a tree stand. Now you're just like, all right, see you, bud.
Best of luck.
Yeah, best of luck.
Patted you on the shoulder and said, come on with it.
Yeah, and a couple deer ran out. I made sure I didn't see no orange. I shot the second deer, and they were all super happy when they got back. I knew I killed it. I watched it fall. So they get over to me like, all right, where's it at? And I'm pointing straight down at the creek because they put me in the top of this little holler, and it was across the holler. It slid all the way down the holler and into the creek. And then they weren't as happy anymore.
You will have that.
But 8-year-old Mike didn't have to do a thing, so I did what I was told.
Yeah, old trigger puller.
Yeah, put her down, son, with a daggone probably 10-inch barrel muzzleloader.
Shoot,
Good time.
Shit, deer drive with a muzzleloader? That's savage.
Come on.
Hey, I will say, I got a good deer drive story. So, I was young, probably 13 or 14. And I was hanging out with one of my buddies that was a lot older, and we went to do a deer drive with a bunch of other people. And I decided I wanted to be a driver. I didn't want to be a shooter no more. I didn't kill a deer too. I didn't want to be a shooter. I wanted to drive, do my part. Well, we ride in the back of a truck over there. It's cold. I'm already cold as shit. But they drop us off right on the property line to a really good hunting property. Well, it just so happened that really good hunting property the owner rides by as the Orange Army is unloading out the back of a pickup truck. And they're dropping us off. I mean, we're spanning a 700 to 800 yard span. I mean, we're doing a big deer drive. I mean, this ain't no joke. I mean, we run them off the side of a mountain to a big creek, and it gets serious. I mean,
show up in a school bus.
It takes multiple trucks to haul these deer out of this after this drive. I mean, I'm serious. It's good shit. So they drop us off, and I'm young. I don't know how any of this is going to happen at this point. And I just start marching through the woods, and we're, screaming, hollering, and pushing. We hadn't made it in 100 yards. We start hearing rifle rounds come flying down through the trees. Well, that landowner that had rode by and seen us unloading was not happy with us, and decided he was going to start shooting down through the woods. So, me at my age, I was a little terrified, but I did have a gun. And I didn't shoot back, but there were several that did. So I hit the ground.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. These are, this is a long time ago.
The statute of limitations is
a long time ago. If anybody was to ever say anything, they was just shooting at a deer.
Hey.
But either way, after that whole drive, ended up killing a pile of deer, having good food, and I couldn't even tell none of my parents about the story because they would have never let me go again. So I don't think I've ever even told really many people about that story just because the fact of
allegedly.
Yeah. So I want to know what happened to the neighbor.
Oh, he's still around.
He's got a limp now.
No, he's good. I seen him at the store a couple weeks ago. I'm not gonna lie. He's still kicking, man.
One of the best. So whenever we did deer drives, of course, man drives.
Yeah.
You drop people off. For anybody who doesn't know what a drive is, you line the edge of the property that you're quote unquote driving with shooters, and then you set a handful of people. Might be 2, might be 3, who knows how many people you got sitting out there, but they will actually walk through the woods, make noise, and that's what causes the deer to jump up, run towards the shooters. That's how a drive works. We always had walkie-talkies when we were doing deer drives. So we're sitting out there in the middle of a field. I'm by myself. Yet again, first deer drive I've ever been a part of. Bunch of, local guys that are doing it with me. So I knew I wasn't doing it wrong. Well. So, of course, I've got a rifle. It's a 30-30. It's an old Marlin. And I probably have at least 200 yards to the creek bottom.
Oh, man.
And everybody was like, what are you doing with that? And I was like, I don't know. They stuck me here.
It's my first day.
Yeah, this is the first rodeo for me, boys. So they're like, well, you better stretch that barrel on out. So we're sitting there, and here come a red fox. And I watch it. Put the crosshairs on it. I was like, we're not fox hunting. We're deer hunting. I'm gonna wait this out.
Yeah.
Well, it hooked the corner, and all you heard was boom, boom, going off. Everything got real quiet. And I forgot who was on the radio. All they said was, well, did you slow them down or did you speed them up? So that was like my first introduction to deer drives. Was it absolute blast. I don't think we probably put but 2 or 3 deer down that day. Just was a bad area that we were in.
Yeah.
But did you slow them down or did you speed them up?
You'll remember that for the rest of your life.
Oh, dude, it's ingrained.
Right. What about you, Ben Yaman? You ever done a deer drive?
I don't think I've ever done a deer drive, except for, obviously, when we get out of the stand and we're hunting together,
right.
The other person will walk to somebody else usually, but, no, not necessarily like a big deer drive like that.
We need to try and do that this year.
Yeah.
We all get
that'd be
together
cool.
and get
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Oh, right. Once rifle season comes in and the rut's about over, just go in there and give them hell.
Yeah, I'll bring the pots and pans. I'll be ready.
I'm gonna get a megaphone this time. I ain't that whole screaming stuff. You lose your voice. I'm just gonna get a little siren and walk through the woods, man.
Yeah,
I'm
watch the
smart
whistle.
now. I have learned. Actually, I might let somebody else walk. I go sit. That old walking thing. That's a lot of work.
Has Nick or Jonathan been on one?
I think Jonathan has. Nick, I don't believe. Nick, this is Nick's first year.
Yes, I don't
Yeah,
think
I
he's
know,
ever.
so-
Nick, but
mean-
Nick is in here.
Oh, yeah.
Nick's locked
Yeah.
down.
No,
For
but what
sure.
I'm saying is,
I mean, it's addicting.
It is.
It sounds like we need to put the new guy to walk.
Oh yeah, you're gonna learn the hard way, just like we had to.
I don't know.
Here's a
We
12
might have
gauge.
to let him shoot, or he's gonna be like, "Man, this sucks." I ain't doing this.
Well, you know what? When he sees us kill a pile of deer and be like, "You get to shoot next time," he'll be like, "Oh, he'll be all excited."
Yeah, but the
probably won't kill none.
yeah, exactly. What's the thing?
The issue is you've got to find the next driver. That's how it works. If you're going to be a shooter, you got to recruit the next set of drivers
Yeah,
into there.
I volunteer. I'll be a driver.
I'll
I don't-
drive.
Tribute. Get the
Hey,
fingers up.
hey, I'll be
I'll
honest with you.
tribute.
I seen when I was driving in. I mean, when I was a driver that day or a couple of different times, I seen deer going in too. Never really was able to get a shot off because I wasn't ready. I'd have my gun on my shoulder, not thinking about even jumping a deer up, being able to
Yeah.
shoot it. But in all reality, the places that I was at when I seen the deer, it would have definitely been cut the deer up in the woods and just carry the meat out because
Right.
Yeah.
several hundred yards from any kind of destination you get.
Well, and if it's got any size on it though, I'm sure we can call in some troops and
Oh,
we
yeah.
can do rotations on dragging it outside of the mountain if
It
we
ain't
need
no
to.
point dragging it all out if you can just cut it up in there, I guess.
That's
I
valid
mean, you
too.
got a good point. But I'll tell you right
Save
now,
what you can.
I don't care how good a shape you are in or you think you're in. Until you grab a hoof and start toting that thing, you don't realize how out of shape you are.
Me and Mike learned that really, really fast this year.
Yeah. We got in shape this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How we were
Yeah.
talking before about like bad shots and stuff like that. It gets to a point, at least for me, probably being the most out of shape, one of us here. It gets to a point where
Glad you took that bad
Yeah,
side.
yeah.
Thank you.
when you
Appreciate it.
you get like a mile back and you're still finding blood, and for me, there's like, just like, dang. We
Screw
gotta,
this.
if we do find the deer,
Nah, it's when you pull up the Onyx app.
That's a
You
hike.
just try to find the nearest access
nearest
point.
road.
Yeah.
You call your buddy, hey man, come to this pin real quick.
Yeah, no, you go out there and you find landowners real quick. You call them up and be like, hey, look, not trying to be that guy, but I have tracked one onto your property.
Yeah.
Please save me the mile walk back. Yeah. Help.
Like
that's worth $100
for sure.
Yeah.
Like
Do you want some of this deer? Like,
Yeah.
I will
Please give
pawn
me the
this off
key.
real
Yeah.
quick.
matter of fact, you can have it. Forget this conversation even happened.
Actually, if you don't let me, you're gonna have it. You're gonna get to keep it.
It's like the Tiger King. It's like, I called for help twice.
So what is one of y'all's dream hunts?
I mean, I know mine. I've done it since I was like
yeah,
12.
No money, no nothing. It's 100% paid for, but it's the dream hunt. What are you going on?
Bow hunt elk in Colorado.
yes.
I want to shoot a 6x6 with bright white tips.
Yes. Tell them, Mike.
Tell 'em. Straight up.
Preach.
I've been thinking that since I was 12.
Yes.
That's what I want to do.
Hit a bugle. It run into 25 yards. Smoke it with a bow. Oh, I can feel it.
Yep. And I'm going to do it with an expandable broadhead, so all the fixed broadhead people are like, oh, dude, that's so unethical. There's no way you did that. It's like, bro, I'm nasty, dog. Like, what do you mean?
Come on.
That's a large animal to kill with a string and a stick. You know, you got to use what you need to use.
Yeah. I really think you can
Back
do it
to
with an expandable, but I don't want to get into that. That's a separate podcast.
Yeah, that is something else we could talk about at a later date. Expandables versus fixed blades.
Hey, I know a boy
hours.
that went this past year and killed a 5x5 first day public land.
What a stud.
He shoots expandables.
Trying to be like you, my boy.
For real.
Yeah, you got that blueprint?
Send the pin.
Exactly.
I'd say he's still got it in his phone.
I'd say he'll be there next year.
I bet you can't afford to buy it though.
Nah, I'll be all right.
What you got, Ben?
I'm going to Alaska to kill a moose with a bow. Yeah. I won't be using an expandable.
No, we got
Time
a
out.
timeout on the flag. We got a flag on the
For
flag.
reference, Ben hates the cold.
Yeah, there's that.
This dude hates the cold. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, that's the dream though, you know. I don't know. It's just always I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, like elk are big. Elk are real big.
Moose are real big.
Moose are bigger. You know, like with a bow, being 30 yards away from a moose.
Yeah.
I feel like we just got a dick swinging contest all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
elk's big.
Yeah.
But my dad said,
How about brown
Oh,
bear?
man.
Fuck.
You ever thought about killing a
I
brown
couldn't
bear?
do it.
That the
Not with a bow.
dangers.
Not with a bow.
No,
With a gun,
no,
maybe.
a rifle. You know, y'all,
Yeah,
y'all crazy. Y'all think I'm going with the freaking bow.
But
I'm not scared of a lot of things, but I'm not stupid neither.
exactly.
"Hey, can't fight bears in the dark, bud."
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Shout out Cam Haynes for shooting bears at 10 yards with a bow. Good for you. Won't be me.
Hey, let you know.
there's probably somebody in the back with a rifle. You know what?
Oh, 100%.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, everybody's like, "Oh, you shot with a bow." There's probably somebody standing right there with a rifle, like ready to shoot if that thing charges. Like, there's no doubt. If they're not, they're crazy.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like everybody's seen the reel or video of the bear charging in Alaska. It runs across that water plane. And everybody's
yeah.
like, "Arr!" And then they turn around and somebody's always like stitched it or whatever, and it looks like they have absolutely shit their pants. Like, yeah, dude, 100%. That Travis Pastrana once said, you know, I never got knocked out, but when I opened my eyes, my friends were there. And somebody had shit my pants. That's exactly the moment that I would feel.
Like Joe
Hey,
Biden. Where's your pants?
I watched a lot of Travis Pastrana growing up. I was always, you know, big into riding dirt bikes and stuff, and you know, watching Travis Pastrana was really cool. Like, oh, I want to do
Dude,
that when I grow up.
No,
Yeah.
the double backflip.
Dude, doing a double backflip into a foam pit, how badass! Like, you can't beat that. Like,
No.
I mean, as a kid, seeing somebody do that, that's crazy.
Yeah.
He told his mom before he went up there, he was like, hey, whatever happens, I'm doing it for the fun. I was like, just
I mean,
put it on the table. buddy.
that's an adrenaline junkie right
There
there.
you
You,
go.
you can't. I mean,
beyond
that's-
adrenaline junkie.
Cool
out
off
there.
Dude, I have rode dirt bikes. I have wrecked dirt bikes, been put in the hospital, rode ambulances. I mean, been there, done that. And just knowingly doing something that's probably 50% chance going to hurt your ass, that's crazy. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
interested.
Cool off that. So, but going back to the Alaska thing, I would love to go hunt Alaska sometime.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
you were talking about moose. I was listening to a podcast, I think it was 2 days ago. Might have been Friday. And apparently moose are taking over Colorado. It used to be like an elk destination. Now it's like a moose destination.
Really?
That's what I heard. I don't know. Allegedly. I don't know.
So I haven't heard anything about that. I mean,
Literally.
you know,
I mean, I
my
love
phone's
to.
not working right now.
Yeah, because like people used to go to Maine to hunt moose.
Yeah,
And apparently
yeah.
Maine is falling off and Colorado's taking off.
I know you can hunt moose in the U.S., like in the lower U.S., but like you said, I would just love to go to Alaska.
Oh, 100%,
And if I
dude.
went to Alaska and got to just pick, I would go on a moose hunt probably. But I
Yeah.
would go to Alaska to go any type of hunting.
Just for a Tuesday.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
would go for just
Yeah.
a Tuesday.
Man, imagine having to
Yeah.
reinforce the wall in your house to hold your moose mount.
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust. I wouldn't trust a
First
single.
world problem.
I wouldn't trust a
World
single stud
problems.
to hold that thing on the wall. There's no way.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of that, about 3 a.m. this morning, my pig mount fell off the wall for a second time and yanked the anchor out of the wall and everything. So,
Well, you gotta
There's
put it.
that.
You're supposed to put it in a stud, Mike. You're
well,
not
I
supposed
put
to
a
put it in
heavy
the
duty anchor in there because where the stud was at, I couldn't center it where I wanted it. You know.
He just set it up there with the hopes and prayers. Just
Well, the first time was
right
my
in the
fault
drywall.
because you know like how they pull the hide back to the taxidermy and they'll like staple it. Well, I thought I hit it on the little bracket, but it landed on a staple.
Oh,
So that's
okay.
on me.
Yeah, I mean,
But this time the whole
yeah.
everything fell out, and I'm not gonna say someone didn't bump it because there were people staying down there last night, and they might have just been like, "Oh, no, I don't know, I don't you know what I mean?"
That's what happened.
Because they were rowdy. Like at 2:30, they were still going.
Oh, well.
Good for them.
Oh yeah,
Dude,
that takes energy right there,
Bro,
man.
you ain't lying. I got up at 4 to come hunting with you yesterday, and the last time I checked my phone is when I heard them at 2:33, and I fell asleep sometime after that. I was up for almost 23 hours yesterday.
Ouch.
I got freaking worked. Not a good time. Wouldn't recommend.
And I wouldn't say
You don't love stuff like that.
I hate it.
Why?
I'm an 8:30 bedtime kind of guy. We can get up at 3 a.m.
I've tried
That's
calling.
fine.
I've
It's only
tried
fun if
calling
you're
Mike.
working.
I've tried calling Mike after like 9 o'clock. He's got straight on do not disturb. It's just like,
Dude,
you've
8:15,
reached.
do not disturb.
You have reached, and I'm like, all right, call him back real quick. Now I
Yeah.
know it'll ring through the second time. And it's like, what's up, my boy?
Yeah, there's like 3 people that can reach me, and that's not on my do not disturb list. I love you guys, but 8:15, I'm
fully
done.
agree.
We got to make a plan at 6 o'clock in the afternoon or the evening,
Oh,
or
yeah.
I'm not probably gonna be there.
Yeah, we need to get the text chain going on there.
That's what I'm saying. Don't wait till 9 or 10 o'clock at night to tell me I got to be up at 4 to go hunting somewhere.
Hard pass.
Yeah, it's probably not going to happen.
Who would ever do that?
All right, y'all ready for a good juicy one here?
Did you tell us your dream hunt?
So it would be tied between bow hunting, elk out in California. Out in California, yeah. You know.
Yeah.
You can bow something out there, but I don't know if it's elk.
I don't think you can hunt out there. Can you hunt?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a
But
different
they're
world.
also the
they
people.
won't like it. They won't like it, but you can.
They're also like the people that are out in Canada that said we have too many. What is it? I think it's the. Was it bear population out in Canada that they were talking about? And they were like, "Hey, we have too many bears. You know, they're killing livestock. They're doing this. They're doing that. Let's drop wolves because wolves are natural bear predators." And they're like, all the farmers were raising their hand. They're like, "Do you know wolves also eat sheep and cow?"
And it's going to be the same thing.
Yeah, you have literally just poisoned.
Yeah.
Like you have added more problems than solved anything out of there.
For real.
Yeah. Signed the government.
Hey, it looks good on paper, man. Looks good on
It
paper.
does look good
on
That's what happens. Well, yeah, that's what happens. You don't have a brain, but you have a say.
Yeah.
Well, valid. And that's another
problem with a lot of this country.
Well, and the issue is you have people voting in cities
Yep.
to rural areas.
Yep.
That
Never even seen a bear
right.
or a wolf.
Yeah.
Or
Know the damage
and-
they cause.
And
or
if
what
you
they're about.
have, he was holding a Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's the bear. Or, you know, you were reading books about the Bernsteins or Berensteins or however you say it with the Mandela effect going on. Like,
I love
you know,
those books.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I'll say it.
How
Bangers.
about the big bad wolf blew little pig's house away? I mean, wolves eat livestock.
Hang on, we're just on something.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
So if we
what
get
happened to
pigs
those
here-
stories?
We need wolves.
We need wolves.
That's what he just said.
Zip it.
That's what he just said.
No.
We don't
It's-
have if
no.
we get pigs here.
He just
He
said
just
that.
segueing it back into the other one.
I never said the wolf was good for blowing little piggy's house down.
That's a good for us. We don't want pigs.
We don't want wolves neither.
I'm just trying to put y'all where
Unless you-
California and Canada's mindset is right now.
Well, you know,
I'll go be governor out there. Forget this.
I'm good.
So the juicy question I had here was, what type of hunting do you think is overrated? Because I know mine, and I will ruffle some feathers. And the reason I'll say this is I believe that coon hunting is way overrated. I have never had a good experience with it. The times that I have been out there, we haven't treed. We walked 8 miles.
That's it.
Yeah, no, it gets worse. So then we go to another spot, right? And it's like, oh no, they're here. Yeah, the guy who had the dogs didn't pull the magnets out of the collars. So another 4 miles of walking blind, just like I think the dogs went this way.
Yeah.
To pulling the thank you, Lily.
Star cat.
She said, y'all talking about hunting, this is right up my alley here. But
We ain't talking about mouse hunting. Go on.
But it's one, we taken the dog box out of the back of the truck to leave it open, to leave hoodies, and now the sun's coming up, and we have not, seen a coon, let alone treat a coon. We've chased dogs for 10 miles, and I was like, you know what? I just don't think this is about it. I really, and I'm sure that there is coon hunters that will prove me wrong and tell me about it, but for me, the coon hunting just ain't it.
Yeah. I've been coon hunting a few times. I had a good time. One time I got soaking wet. We did not see a coon. That was not a very fun time. But for the most part, I've seen coons, treating coons, and coons. Wow, coons. And,
Raccoons.
yeah, Rickies, Banditos.
Yeah.
Trash pandas.
But I don't know. Everybody's got their thing. Coon hunting ain't mine.
Oh yeah, and I'm right there. Like I do not hate on people who do it
No.
or hate on people who love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. But for me, that is the one type of hunting that is overrated. That if somebody asked me to go coon hunting with them, I was like, no, I'll just be in bed at 9, snuggled up, and be snoozing at 9:30.
Yep. But I don't know. You ever been coon hunting?
I've never been coon hunting, man. So, like, I don't know.
Don't let us mess it up for you.
I love to hunt, so I don't think there's necessarily any hunting that's overrated, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, yeah, because if it's for you, man, it's for you.
Yeah,
you know,
great,
just like
yeah.
the turkey versus whitetail thing.
Yeah,
Like,
it's whatever you're into.
yeah, it's whatever you're into, and I would, if somebody offered to take me coon hunting, I would definitely go. If I would walk 8 miles and didn't see a coon, I probably wouldn't go with that person again. But you know what I'm saying? If I saw somebody else or met somebody else who wanted to take me, I'd give it another shot.
This is our special guest, Lily the cat, in here. Ridge, what do you got? What's overrated?
No, hang on, Ridge, you coon hunt, don't you?
Well, I don't coon hunt now.
I thought you
Used
did.
to.
I'll say I probably have the best opinion about coon hunting just because I did do it for about 2 years. Pretty solid. I spent a good amount of money on dogs. Spent a good amount of money on a hunting truck, CBs, this and that. I've coon hunted and bear hunted. Spent the money on both. Didn't have bear dogs, only had coon dogs, but just went with a lot of people I know that bear hunt. And still use my truck to, run and pick up their dogs and just help out and stuff like that. But as far as the whole coon hunting aspect, it is kind of overrated. You spend a lot of money. Everybody talks trash on dog hunters and stuff like that. They spend more money on hunting than a lot of people spend on their vehicles.
Oh, I agree.
Uh,
I
mean,
hunting collars are $200-$300. Tracking systems are $500-$700. And most people have, if you're coon hunting, you only have one dog or two dogs. Deer hunting, deer hunters and stuff like that, they spend thousands upon thousands of dollars on just collars. And they have several $1,000 dogs.
Right.
Coon hunters, you can buy a $500 dog that's going to tree trash as far as possums and stuff like that. It's going to run deer. It's going to be aggravating. You can spend a couple $1,000, let's say, and get a really good dog that somebody else has already trained, and you can go out there and have a great time coon hunting because the dog already knows what to do, and you're not walking around treeing trash and stuff like that. And it's all about what you want to spend in coon hunting too, for your experience. You spend a little money, you have a bad time. You spend a lot of money, you're probably going to have a lot better time walking a mile to a coon tree than you are walking a mile to a possum tree or no tree or, anything. Yeah. And I think that also has a big aspect to do with how people's first experience are like yours.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where you had a bad experience, it wasn't fun. My first time, I think I went and we walked like 200 yards and there was 3 coons in the tree.
Yeah, and
four dogs screaming on the coons. Yes. Like absolutely great time. That's why I got into it. It's a great time.
Right.
But I just don't have the time to do it. I still would probably do it, but it's just the time and the money. I can't afford to do everything.
Well, and
especially the way I hunt. Like I hunt everything that I can. So
yeah. I have more interest in like trapping a coon than I would hunting one, probably.
Yeah.
I do too, because I'm lazy. That walking 4 miles stuff. I mean, I'll do it, but it's rough.
I'm gonna complain the whole time.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna do it. Honestly, the walking there is rough, but when you get there, you're like, dang, I gotta walk back. That's when you really start thinking about it.
Yeah, it's like me, dragging a deer out, going 30 to 75 yards, thinking I need a fudge round and an inhaler to help me get the rest of the way out of here. And, I only had a 200-yard drag, which is light for some of the work that you do.
Yeah, that's still a pretty decent drag, though, for real.
It is, but I mean,
by yourself, yes. Was the deer gutted?
Huh?
You say was the deer gutted?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's still a good drag.
Still a good drag.
Yeah.
So what is something that you will always bring in the woods with you? I'm going to have to say my phone. Like, I will, between Onyx or something like that to be able to show me property lines to make sure I am where I am, to getting bored and playing video games on there, because I think we're all guilty of that.
Is this under a hunting aspect or just in general?
No, it's under a hunting aspect.
Okay.
Like, when you go out in the woods, I would rather leave a grunt call than to leave my phone.
Nah, screw that.
I can't say the same.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
For me, it's gonna be my binos.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, that's
I'm like, I can pretty much deal without anything else, because like growing up hunting and then like I used to think that people that use grunt calls or whatever, like, dude, the animal's going to come out. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
you just got to wait it
yeah.
out. Not necessarily the case, but like, especially over the past like 3-4 years, dude, binos, you got to have them. You got to have them. So if I forget those, like, I'd rather forget my belt at home than forget my binos.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
And that's probably not even as important for us as it is for people further west, too. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, I hunted for years without binos, but picking that rifle up and holding it, you know, trying to hold it steady for a long time it's not fun.
It's not
you
fun.
know? It's a lot easier with binos.
The movement you make to scanning your
Yeah,
rifle
yeah,
around.
exactly.
I mean, you're posted up scanning around versus just barely holding your hands up to your face.
Yeah.
You're more likely to get busted because, I mean, I've had deer walk up behind me and be basically licking the ladder on my stand, and I never know they're there if the leaves are wet.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I mean, they're sneaky creatures. I mean, that's you're in their world.
Yeah, how does a 2-pound squirrel make the sound of a 110-pound buck running around?
Very easily.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive too.
Now, if we're just talking specifically about deer hunting, I have become a very, very big fan of a backpack.
Ooh.
Okay. Of recent years, I used to just go in with what I got on. I'd take my jacket and try to tie it around my waist or what have you. But having a backpack to put my jacket and calls and really anything in is has been a big one for me.
So y'all good for a bathroom break here?
Well,
Yeah.
I want to hear Ridge's opinion first. Did you say what you couldn't go without?
Well, can I ask a question about this question that you
absolutely,
have? Is a weapon considered like the season?
I was thinking about that.
Okay, like,
Me
okay,
too.
are we?
Me
I
too.
mean, I'm not trying to like be that guy, but like, are we asking like anything at all? Or like, what's the?
So I would
That's a very
say
good
if I personally would not walk in, I would not leave my house without knowing I had a firearm on me.
Well,
Like, especially to hunt. Like for
Yeah,
me, that is
even
part,
during bow season.
even during bow season. No.
Just thought I'd ask.
But no, like, I wouldn't have a weapon on me. Something to
Yeah.
be able to do the job. Whether
That's kind of what I was thinking.
yeah, like to me that goes on. Like I would have never made it down the road and go, oh gosh darn it, I forgot this.
Yeah.
But if there was something when you sat down in the woods, ready to go, you have the your mandatory equipment. You're wearing clothes. You have boots on.
Everything else you need.
Right. What's that secondary option that you would have that would be like it would disrupt your hunt? Like for me, it would just be like, all right, like I can still make this work, but it's not that piece that I want.
I'm honestly really my binos is really gonna be the big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like glassing and just being able to see and pick. I mean, whether I'm just looking at a woodpecker or a squirrel or anything, I mean, just seeing movement and being able to go just look at it and see exactly what it is and see the characteristics of it as far as like a squirrel and patches of fur on them and stuff like that. And then when you hunt, most people hunt the same spot multiple times. I mean, you don't just hunt one spot and then never hunt there again most of the time. So you start seeing the same squirrels and the same this, the same that, and you're able to depict them. But if you never had binos, you would never see any of those cool characteristics of those animals.
Yeah.
Or even especially the animal you're hunting. Let's say deer, being able to see one coming to you versus when it gets up on top of you, you can already be prepared to kill the animal or whatever your intentions are. You can do what you need to do and already be prepared for it because you'd never seen it if you didn't have something that you could glass with.
Yeah.
No, and that was one of the things that personally was not on my radar of, if I left it at the house, what would I do until y'all started talking about it? And I was like, yeah, they're
Screw
really,
that phone.
I'll throw the phone aside. Like,
I mean, the phone's nice, but honestly, when I go to the woods, I want to get away from my phone. Like I do, I take my Snapchats and stuff. Don't get me wrong. Gotta let everybody know you're in the woods. I mean, especially, we're basically, I'm Snapchatting people that I'm talking to right now and stuff
But-
like that.
Yeah.
if you didn't snap it, did it happen?
Exactly. I mean, it's like phone eats first. You gotta take a picture while you're hunting before you shoot the deer. Like, Same concept.
Nah, I get
Just
a picture when I
like
get to the house.
like white girl wasted. It's just all this is a trend.
Yeah.
But
See, got a point.
no, I mean I like having my phone. Legal shooting lights, stuff like that, because I don't wear a watch.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
definitely binos on the. If I had to have it, and that's a necessity, because not everybody carries binos.
Yeah.
I'm not going to the woods without my
I
binos
I
or
actually
my
invested
phone.
in a good pair
To be
of
honest,
binos
but-
this year, just because I had a cheap pair that I've had since a kid, or since I was younger. I say kid, but like 14, 15. And I couldn't see what I wanted to see. So I invested in a good pair of loopholes this year. And they tremendously have helped me spot animals and see stuff before it sees me.
And I will say this too: secondary to some sort of firearm or weapon that you are using, the glass is the next. But I will take better glass over better ammo.
100%.
Well,
for sure.
When you're hunting, I take my binos duck hunting too. I'm scanning rivers and stuff, or
Yeah.
just being able to see down the river and look down the edges, or just stuff of that nature. Or even when you're scouting, having your binos, like these, you think about it, you use your binos all the time if you're serious about hunting.
I agree.
Most people that are serious, they never leave their truck, or they have a pair they keep in their truck.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Mine do not leave the truck.
I try to take mine out of the truck sometimes just because they are rather expensive, but I try to keep with me as much as I can when I am able to hunt or I'm going to be looking for animals. I risk it for the biscuit that time of year. But I don't leave them every year round, if it ain't hunting season, but you got to have it.
Yeah, I agree.
For sure.
So cool. Hey, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back here in just a second. It helps if I cut the mics on.
That's helping out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you a lot better.
Yeah. So, I think we're going to close it out with, what is your favorite hunting story that you have? So, who wants to pull the short stick?
I got a short stick. I'll go first.
Go ahead, Mike.
Deal.
So, this was at the same place I was telling y'all about the deer drives. I think I've told you this story before, but I don't think I've ever told y'all. So, my uncle was with us, and he is a convicted felon. And
So he had a
Halloween.
crossbow.
I like it already.
I'm not going to say
He
what
didn't
he
even
had.
have a weapon, Rain.
Allegedly.
Rain, he didn't even have a weapon. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but so this was like, I think it was the second time, probably the last time I think that I ever went there. And for some odd reason, Dad was like, "You go with him." Sure, 8-year-old Mike.
Right.
Okay, whatever you say, Dad. So they take off through this like flat, and it goes like a really long way, almost like an old power line cut, and then they go up to the top of this ridge. And like as soon as we park, there's like this little like man-made kind of like dam, so people can't drive through there.
All right.
We walk over the dam, hook a left, and then we go up to this other ridge. So we get up there, and I'll call him Jim, Uncle Jim.
That's fine.
Uncle Jim's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go right here. You should go here." And I was like, "Look, man, I ain't never been here. You know what I mean? How about I sit here? You get me on the way out. And he's like, "All right, that's fine. That's cool, man. That's cool. All right, Mikey, man." And that's how he talks. And so I sit down, no big deal. He takes off, and we had walkie-talkies back then. And he hits me up, and he's like, "Mikey, man, you gotta come get me, man, come get me. Mikey, man, come get me." I'm like, "What?" I'm like freaking out because I'm like, dude, this is like what you see on TV. Like, this is a rescue situation. That's where my brain went.
Immediately went to Survivor, man.
Literally 8-year-old Mike.
Yeah.
I'm like, what am I gonna do here? I got this 243 that's this big, And I'm like, well, where are you at? And he's like, I'm on top of the hill, but beside the big tree, Mikey, man. I'm up here. You gotta hurry up. You gotta be quick. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? What's going on? And he's like, just come on. And he like stutters like that, like he's freaked out. And so I just go walking up through there. I have no idea where I'm going. And
Does
I hear like
anybody else all of a sudden have, like, we should have gone first in the store?
I'm sorry, dude. But
Yes,
I go
Mike
up
should have
there.
ended.
I go up there, and I'm just walking through the woods, I'm just looking, no idea what I'm doing. And I hear like a whistle, like something. I'm like, is that a bird? I'm already freaked out. Then I see this dude lean out from the tree. So I just start talking to him because obviously we're not hunting him. I'm like, dude, what's the problem? Like he's fine. He's standing there, and he's like freaked out. And now that I'm older, I think he got too high and was getting a little paranoid.
Paranoid.
So anyway, I go over to him, I'm like, dude, why are you hunting right here? I was right there. Like, he was just over the hill. And, like, I thought you was going up to the top. And he's like, man, I was up there, man, and I heard somebody coming. And I thought I was going to get in trouble. And I didn't know what to do. I'm like, so what are you calling me for? Why didn't you come get me? You know, like, 8-year-old Mike's thinking logically now. And he's like, no, I couldn't get it. But I needed you here in case it was, like, somebody that ain't supposed to see me. I can say that I'm here with you. And I'm like, am I supposed to be here? You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about?
Blame it on the kid. Blame it on the kid.
Yeah, and then it dawns on me. This dude has took his orange off and has no gun. I'm like, where's your stuff? He's like, I had to ditch it up under a log. I'm like, what? Yeah, I tucked it up under logs. Nobody would see me. I was like, well, where's it at? He was like, up there. It's like, are we going to get it? Like, that's Dad's gun. That's not even your gun. And you just threw, like, it's a nice gun. Like, I ain't gonna lie. And you just threw it up under a log. And he's like, no. I'm like, Dave, or Jim, we got to go get it. And he's like, man, I don't know, man. And like, so we go back to the truck, I call Dad, and I forget who he was with, but they all come back, and they're all fighting and stuff, and I'm just hanging out by the truck because I don't know what to do. And then somehow me and Dad go on a search to find this gun. So we get up there, we find it, and this dude dug out the leaves like a wild cat. Tucked this gun up underneath there and all the orange stuff. And so we get it, we come back down, and we're like, dude, what is, like, your issue? What is your problem? And I guess maybe, like, by then the highness had done wore off. He's like, dude, I swore I saw a game warden. I swore, dude. And I was terrified, and I didn't know what to do. And he was like, this is like a 200-acre property. There's huge farms over there. There's nobody even lives here. Like, what are you talking about? And so we wound up leaving, and he never apologized, and he never brought it up again. And I just got freaked out, and we never been back.
So that is your favorite hunting story.
I will never forget it to the day.
Okay. I understand why. I really understand why.
The same person, Ben was hunting with him one day. The same person almost had Ben shoot me.
Yeah. I was going to mention that.
Yeah.
This is starting to make sense.
This guy does not hunt with us anymore and never will again.
Yeah.
This dude, Ben can vouch for me, this dude is different, okay?
Jim is on the block. He is off the team. He's out the game.
Yeah, off the contact list. He's gone.
You said he's your uncle?
Allegedly.
Yeah. So is he your favorite, or?
Gosh.
Okay, let's make sure.
Now, when I was little, before that happened, he was. Because, like, he was, like, the cool uncle, been to jail, had all the tattoos, always had cool stuff.
And it all started to make sense.
It
all started to make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So, no, never more.
Reed, what you got on your favorite hunting story here?
My favorite hunting story was probably when I was, like, 10, and I had a single shot Rossi 243 with a little Tasco scope on it.
Yep.
And me and my dad had permission to hunt this property that was probably 10, 15 minutes from his house. And it was just, cool to hunt somewhere that wasn't, the land that you normally hunted. It was somewhere different. And we walked over in there and sat down beside a creek. And we was probably there 30, 45 minutes. And here come two does. Big doe and, like, a little bit smaller doe behind it. Well, I wanted to shoot it, obviously, as a kid, like, seeing a deer in the woods, and I was actually quiet enough to see something. I wanted to shoot it. Well, I shoot this deer, it takes off running. We sit there for a little bit, wait, let the deer have time to expire or whatever. Well, we go and start looking for blood. Well, we find some decent blood, nothing crazy, but we start tracking it, and we start finding pieces of bone. Well, I think I done hit this deer in the rib cage. Hit like right in a rib bone or something. And I bet we followed blood for 1,200 yards. I mean, it was forever, probably 2 hours tracking this deer. I mean, just dedicated to trying to find it. Well, we was following a creek and was using it as kind of like when we come back through, we'll just follow this creek back down. And we'd made a big giant spot on the bank in the leaves to where we could see where to turn up and go to the truck. Trying to have like a backup plan, back way before phones and stuff was really a big deal, or OnX Hunt or any of that stuff. Well, the creek split and we didn't know it. So we're following the main creek, and there was a little side creek that come off. Well, when we crossed over the creek and went wandering around through the woods, we found that same creek again, or we thought we found the same creek again, but it was another branch to it. So we started following that other branch, thinking it was the main creek, and ended up going the complete wrong direction. Where it's like 8, 9 o'clock at night. I'm supposed to go to school the next day. I actually was supposed to be home. We were supposed to be back, after dark, after hunting like normal. It's 9 o'clock at night, so my mom's wondering where in the world we're at. We're lost in the woods. And we end up tracking around, and we can finally hear cars. So obviously, you hear cars, you go towards the car sound because there's going to be a road. Well, we end up coming up behind this house, and I had left my gun in the truck, and I think my dad brought his gun. But, we're wandering up down this old roadbed, and all of a sudden, these dogs start barking. And they're in the backyard of this house. There's nobody's home, just like 3 big dogs barking. So I'm kind of worried. 3 dogs, that's, a lot. You ain't like just one dog. It's 3 of them. Well, my dad just picks up a stick, and he's like, here, hold my gun. He's like, if it gets bad, he's like, try to shoot the dogs. I'm like, as a kid, I'm like, all right, like, it's just getting ready to get wild. Like, what's about to happen here? Well, he picks up this big log, and we keep walking, and just watching the dogs. They're watching us, and they're, barking and stuff. We ease on past the house, and he just stares at them the whole time with the stick, and they're just barking like crazy. I'm holding the gun, pointing at them, and we just walk on by, walk up the hill, and they never chased us. They never, come towards us, anything. They just barked. But still probably one of the most terrifying experiences I've had in the woods by myself or with my dad.
How I asked the question of what was your favorite hunting story, and you come up with the most terrifying lost in the woods creek fork.
Gonna get eaten by dogs.
Eaten by dogs. My dad said try to shoot the dog, which means if you hit me, I understand.
If I'm down, don't, I don't want you anyway. So it's not even over. So we're walking up to the road, and I'm like, I don't know where we're at.
Yeah.
He does, but he didn't tell me that. And here comes this vehicle driver. He waves him down, and this this old dude in a Bronco. Dude was probably drunk. It's no telling. He looked like a crackhead. And
good for him.
Apparently, my dad was cool with it because he had seen him at the store before.
Talk about small town.
I've seen him at the store buying some Bud Light back before Bud Light went gay.
Hey, it's on the rise again.
Yeah.
Sponsored by the UFC where we made a turn.
Yeah, they're trying. They're doing their best.
We might be indulging in Bud Light's dirty little stepson, the AKA the Bush Light out here.
as long as you buy it, Rain, I'll drink it. But
come out.
So anyway, I crawl up in the back of this dude's Bronco. And we ride back down, right down the road. It's probably like 1.5 miles away from where we started at. And, that was a long way because we went left and ended up on the right side of where we come from. So, we made a big loop. It wasn't like we just walked 1.5 miles the wrong way. We made a ginormous loop back around. And we got back to the truck, and he's like, don't tell your mom about this story. She might get a little worried about us going hunting again. I was like, you serious? I can't tell you nothing about this? And I went home. She asked what happened. I said, we was looking for a deer and just didn't find it. And tried our best, And that was just I don't know if I've ever told her any different. But
until now.
Yeah, until now.
Well,
Sorry,
if she
stumbles across this
if she hears this, then she'll know the difference. But, either way. Ain't no point worrying about it now. It's 12 years later.
Yeah, the statute of limitations has already passed, so we're
I have one more story that's not deer hunting related, it's duck hunting related that happened to me this year. Opening day of the 3rd semester of the season in Virginia, I went to an old farm pond that I hadn't hunted in a while, and just a great place to be, as far as ducks right off the river, stuff like that. But I didn't go in there and get set up or nothing. I hadn't scouted it. I just was like, I'm just going to go sit on the edge of the bank and just see if anything's even using this pond. So I go over there, and I'm wearing sweatpants, just a pullover, and my gun, and I'm just sitting on the bank, and it's probably 3 minutes before legal shooting light, and birds just start dumping in from everywhere. Like, I just go over there, don't even have my calls ready. I'm just chilling on the bank, just going to see if an old mercanther or something's using this pond. And wood ducks, mallards, and everything just starts dumping in from all directions in groups of 2 or 3. And I soon regretted not bringing nobody with me. Because I realized I had 3 bullets in my gun, and there was 20-some ducks on this pond that when I shoot, they're all going to leave. Except the ones that I'm able to hit. So, and I'm not a very good shot, so 3 bullets ain't enough. I ended up killing 2 mallards, but just an all-around great hunt to start off the season. And that's all I got.
It's a good story.
Yeah, good story for sure.
All right, Benny boy.
All right, I got 2 stories as well. Probably my first deer that I ever shot. That's a good story. Never forget it.
Was that the one, or was that your first bow kill? Was on my property?
Yeah, that was my first bow kill. It was on your property.
Okay.
Yep.
No, I got you.
The first deer I ever shot was actually the only deer that I ever shot with my dad, and we were in a ground blind. We had hunted at least probably two or 3 times the season before that, I want to say, and had no luck. And this was youth day of the following year, and we set up a ground blind. We hunted in the morning, didn't see anything, went to the gas station, got some chicken livers and hot sauce for lunch, and then went back. And
hell,
That's rough.
And then we went back, and we were probably there for 2 or 3 hours, and had a big old doe and a yearling, I think, came out 30 yards maybe, and my dad, he put his hand up like on his knee, and I used that as a gun rest, and I blasted her double long shot with 270, and she went like 30 yards. So, it's hard to beat that first deer.
I agree. Yeah,
Yep.
the first deer you ever harvest is 100% a trophy.
Yeah.
Doesn't. I will say your first deer, especially with a firearm, it should be your number 1. And then if you ever get the opportunity to harvest one with a bow.
Yeah.
And I don't care if it is, the first bow kill I had might have been 60-pound doe. Just straight out wash the spots off of her.
Yep.
Well,
But-
hey, the spots is something to aim at, I thought.
But I picked it up and put it on the back rack of the four-wheeler myself.
And mine was the very same way.
Hey,
'cause-
so that was really, really, really funny. So take Ben out bow season several years ago, and put him up in a stand. Me and my girlfriend go into another little spot outside of the pine patch, and we're sitting there, and there is bear in the territory, so no intention on ever killing a deer with a sidearm that is on me, but for self-defense, I thought it would be a good idea for her to carry her 9mm and me to carry my 357, and we are 10 yards apart from each other. We're watching one side. We're facing each other. So in the pine patch, I'm looking past her. She's looking past me. So we're facing each other, but we're watching front to back. Ben is 75 yards away from us.
Yeah. Not
And he's in a stand up on the other side of the ridge. So there is no physical way. It would take... there is no way that if he let loose a arrow, it could hit us. There's 100% confidence in this. So we're sitting there, and I'll let you tell your side of the story after this.
Yeah.
But we're sitting there, and all of a sudden, I would say, 30, 45 minutes after daylight, 15, 30?
Man, no, it was dark. It wasn't dark. It was legal shooting light, but there was clouds that day, and it was pretty dark.
10, 15 minutes after. Yeah. So, it's still a little hungover, and all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose to my right. And I'm like, oh, God, here we go. Like, now something is on me. And then it goes quiet after all this hell breaks loose. So I'm like, great, it's in the pine patch. Like, somebody has pissed something off, aka black bear, that is sitting there. And now it's looking for the first thing to take its aggression out on, which is me and Tiffany. So we're back to back. And I went ahead and just put my hand on my revolver. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever. So I look at her. She is struggling to get her gun out of the holster, which, granted, the gun is not made for the holster, but she is struggling out of it. So I look over my right shoulder for what feels like 2 hours. It might have been 3 minutes. So I'm like, all right, cool. It's, whatever was going to eat me is not going to eat me anymore.
Yeah.
I look at Tiffany, and she's on her phone. And I just whisper. I was like, what are you doing? She was like, what? And I was like, what are you doing? Like, you have the clear line of sight behind me. And she was like, well, it stopped moving. I was like, yeah, we're in a pine thicket over here that, will not make any noise. Like, now's the time to be scared. If we can hear where it's going, like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, you making a Facebook post? I'm like, oh my God, Rain's about to get mauled by a bear. Like, I'm trying to figure out what the world is going on here. So after that, everything calms down. No more noise is made. And I'm like, all right, cool. So we, all right, so now's the time to start sending texts. Like, hey, what's going on? Well, I look at my phone. Ben says I hit one. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense on why this noise just ran beside me through the middle of this pine patch. Precursor to all this, I told Ben, I was like, hey, if you see a small buck, let it walk. If you see a doe, slack it. Like, go ahead and just put it down. He's like, all right, cool. So we start trailing blood for a while, and then it kind of goes a little bit cold. So I kind of walk off, and I'm over here checking on, everything else, make sure everybody else is good. I go back to Ben, and Ben is ghost white. Just flushed as he could be. And all he says is, I'm sorry. And I'm like, for what? So we end up finding this deer. It is, 80. Would you say 100-pound deer?
No. Maybe 50 pounds.
Is this 50 pounds field dressed?
Yeah. 50 pounds, yeah.
Field dressed.
And it's a button buck.
Maybe. It's a button buck. It was just lost its spots.
Maybe field dressed 50 pounds.
Yeah. It didn't have spots.
No, it didn't.
And like 100%. I said, it was dark. But either way, even if I'd realized how small it was, and I didn't, if I could have saw the
nubs,
yeah. I probably wouldn't have shot it. But if I wouldn't have saw those nubs, even if it would have been further into the hunt, more light, right, I probably still would have shot it, because that was my first, first bow kill. Yeah.
So we end up dragging this deer out, and he's like, dude, I'm so sorry. And I was like, for what? And then we see the nubs on its head. I said, is this your first bow kill? He said, it is. And I was like, hell yeah, dude, let's get this thing packed up and ready to rock. He's like, what? And I was like, dude, I'm not going to fault you. Now, granted, if you were a seasoned bow hunter with a couple other, bow kills under your record, I'd be like, dude, why are you shooting the little ones? Regardless of what it is. But at the time, I was like, I can't take this guy's trophy away from him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it was your first clean shot, it fell. We found it.
Yeah.
We drug it out. You got to take it home. Who am I?
To be fair, that deer was probably within 10 to 15 yards. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't even say 15. I'd say 10 or closer. And that stand isn't but 7 feet off the ground, maybe?
Yeah, it might be.
So, in all reality, I'm really close to this deer.
Oh, yeah.
And so it looked a lot bigger than it did when I got up on it.
And not just that, though. The first deer you draw down on,
it was intense.
It doesn't matter. Intense is a great word to use.
Yeah.
Your first bow kill is a trophy. I don't care what whenever says.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
if they're like, oh well, I can't believe you shot that. Not in a shut up, dude. Like that first time that you let go of a stick and it hits a deer and it hits it in a good ethical spot, because it probably wasn't but maybe 40 yards from where you let loose on it.
Definitely hit it in the lungs.
Yeah,
it was a good shot.
It laid down. It had its piece.
Yeah.
You got to go feed yourself, feed your family off of it.
It ran right into a thicket, though. That's the only reason it took it so
it
long
ran
to
into
find
a
it.
briar patch. Is what it ran into.
It was pretty rough.
So,
it really only went about 50 yards.
Maybe,
Yeah,
but
maybe.
it was the dragging or getting it out of the briar
briars,
patch. Yeah.
Another very memorable story, because you told that one pretty much. That was that was that story for sure. It wasn't that one wasn't a long hunt. Like I said, it was probably before legal sunrise. It was legal shooting light, but I shot that deer quick. I was in a
Yeah, and I thought a bear was going to eat me.
yeah. Very memorable story. And then last year I shot my biggest buck. I did shoot it. I shot my biggest buck with a bow. And then my good old buddy Mike over here shot the same deer 3 days later at the beginning of muzzleloader season. So I hit that one in the neck. We searched. Actually, you weren't even with me. I luckily went to work at like 9 o'clock at that job. So I decided to go hunting that morning. It was 26 degrees, I think, at the end of October.
Beautiful
it was like 3 days left in bow season.
Yeah.
So I said, screw it, I'm going to sit in the tree stand. And I saw this buck come out. I drew back on it, but there was a couple other deer with him, and one of those deer saw me draw back, and they all jumped, further back. Well, I had him ranged at 30 yards, and then so I put my 40 on him because they jumped back when I drew. So I really had no clue how far he was. I let one sling. It sounded like it hit a tree. And it hit really hard. So I just assumed that I missed the deer,
Yeah.
I waited probably 20 to 30 minutes. Pretty sure I texted you.
Oh, yeah. I was like,
Yep, I got out of... Actually, no, I don't think I even texted you yet because I thought I missed the deer. I ended up waiting. It might not have even been 30 minutes.
it wasn't long. I'm pretty sure you texted me because you told me, you're like, I think I missed it, but I'm going to go look. And I was like, okay, that's cool,
Well, see, I remember getting down. I looked for the arrow. Couldn't find the arrow. And so then I just decided to, I've got to go to work, at this point. So I get back on the trail. And I start walking, and then I come across blood, and then I'm pretty sure that's when I texted you, because I was like, oh, shit, dude, I don't, because he was halfway behind a tree limb, this is still bow season, so there's still leaves on the trees. I wear glasses, I don't have very good vision. He's at 40 yards, I probably shouldn't have shot, but biggest buck I've ever seen with a bow in my hand, and within range,
Yeah.
So I let her fly, and ended up finding out 3 days later that I shot the deer in the neck, and Mike hit a grunt tube about 100 yards from where I was hunting. I was hunting in the same stand, and he put him down with a muzzleloader and let me have him to put on the wall, and I put that arrow right in his neck.
Right in his neck.
Yep.
Yeah.
He looks real good on the wall. Not a crazy big deer, probably 120 inches, maybe, probably like 115.
15, 16 inches wide. Probably.
Yeah, 15, 16 inches wide. He had 8-pointer. He had decently long tines. Just
decently
didn't
tall,
have much mass. Yeah, decently tall tines.
This is what I like about the group that we're with, is they have every opportunity to lie about any sort of animal that is on a wall.
No.
This is an audio kind of deal. They can be like, oh no, he was 237. I got him measured. I got the piece of paper. No, but they're going to sit there and
it was my biggest deer with the bow, and I'd go back and do it again all over, except I might have let down and rearranged him.
Yeah.
But proud of the deer. Yeah, thankful for Mike for letting me keep him and shooting him for me or killing him for me.
Yeah. But
it's hard to be a story like that, though. I mean,
It is, man.
just-
That's something I'll never forget.
I was
Yeah,
like,
like, that'll never
stories
happen
like
again.
that don't happen to everybody in
No.
the deer woods.
We tracked him for damn.
yeah, that's what I was
Probably
gonna say. You
3 or
left the
4
part out where
miles,
like
man.
he
Or
texted
miles.
me, and I looked at
Yards.
everybody at the job, and I was like, I'm leaving. Like I'm gonna go look for a deer. Y'all do what you want. You know, so I left to go help Ben, and we zigzagged and circled and squared and triangled forever and ever, and then some,
Literally
and
circles. Like,
went until we couldn't find no more blood, and we were like, dang, dude, you know, maybe he's all right. And sure as enough,
Yep.
that weekend, that following weekend, we
yeah,
went
man.
hunting.
I went to work. I went back that evening when I got off work. Me and the guy that lives there walked pretty much the same path that me and you did.
Yeah,
And yeah, never found nothing. Couldn't get back on the blood because by the time we lost blood, it was drops every
yeah,
20 yards maybe. Like,
yeah.
yeah, it wasn't looking good, and I knew that. But I'm gonna do everything I could to find him. I caught a couple people with dogs. Couldn't get a dog out there. And then, like I said, that was on a Thursday, and then that Saturday was the opening day of gun season. And
Yeah.
yeah,
And what's crazy too is like Ben was gonna go hunt that same spot and in hopes to see the deer, which totally makes sense. And I was like, well, I'll go to the other side of the property. But we noticed that we were seeing deer come out of like a spot they haven't usually been coming out of. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna walk down the road a little bit and I'll sit by a tree, you know, more or less just hoping Ben saw his deer, you know. And like he said, hit a grunt tube, dude. 30 seconds later, this dude come in like a bulldozer. And I was like, oh, here we go.
yeah. Oh, I mentioned that I shot the deer in the neck. I did not mention the arrow was still in his neck 3 days later. Yeah.
When that deer came
The
out of the
arrow was
woods,
still in his neck.
No pass through on that one.
No.
Dude.
That's
And,
when
like-
I stopped shooting those broadheads
Yeah.
and went to a heavier arrow setup. A bunch of different changes in the old archery equipment now.
yeah, 100%.
But, all for the better, and never forget that. That's why I put the arrow in the mount because he had it in his neck.
I've almost gotten hit by the broadhead over at your house
Yes.
multiple times. Yeah.
Maybe switch those two, dude.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that is kind of a dangerous
It's not
spot.
it's not that sharp at this point. I mean, you
Yeah,
didn't even get
true.
to the neck all the way.
I shut the blades on it too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was crazy. Like as soon as I shot it, like I watched him. Like he didn't even skip a beat. Like I shot him, he kept on trucking and just literally just nosedived down and just dug in and laid in this little tiny wood patch between the two trails. And I instantly texted Ben. I was like, "Get your ass over here!
Yeah,
You're not gonna believe this." And dude, when he came around the corner, he was high kneeing it.
I knew as soon as he said get over here. I asked him if he shot a deer. He wouldn't answer me, and at that point, I knew. I was like, "Oh shit!" Like he shot the deer. Thank God. Like I was super happy because
was so cool.
that was a whirlwind of emotions, man. That 3 day period. Like my old lady was pissed at me because I came home from work. I just sat on the couch.
Depression.
Didn't want to talk. Yeah, straight just depression. Man.
Yeah.
Like that's not what we do this for. We're trying to make a good ethical kill, but at the same time, sometimes we let ourselves get the better of us. The biggest buck I've ever seen.
And I mean, it happens.
Yeah, it happens, and I'm not gonna lie about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's
no,
part of the journey. So
It's happened to 2 of us at least this year.
Yeah.
If not 3 of us
Yeah.
that I know of.
Yeah, and that was going to lead into my next point. Like, I
Yeah.
helped Ben out, and he did not return the favor. So, what the heck?
yeah. Well, actually, the story earlier about me saying, we get to a certain point in a search that I'm like, damn, I wish. What are we going to do if we find it? That was me talking about trying to find your deer
already
this
knew.
year that you
Already
shot in the neck. Unfortunately, we didn't find him, though.
Yes.
Or get to shoot him 3 days later.
Yeah.
But maybe next year.
Dude, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I
It
can imagine.
is nothing like shooting a deer though, and then getting a second opportunity at them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rare enough.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
especially the way it can happen sometimes.
Even if it's not
Yeah.
the same person, man, that deer was there for. He came back to this basically the same spot
Yeah.
because we were only hunting 200 yards apart, maybe 3 or 4,
Yeah.
but we weren't hunting that far apart. It's
Yeah,
not
no.
a big piece of land at all. Yeah, and the deer was there with the arrow still in his neck.
Yeah.
And
like where he ran
Crazy.
through, like that arrow was hitting all them trees and briars.
Oh,
and
yeah.
dude, that
Yeah.
had to hurt so bad.
could only imagine. Like when you said doing circles, we literally followed the blood trail in a circle, man. Like It's wild. It's wild what deer can go through. You know how tough they are.
Yeah.
No, it's one of the toughest animals I will ever encounter in my life.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I've personally hit one with a car,
Yeah.
and they have fell in the road, and I go out there to take care of the animal, right? And then it starts kicking when you grab it, and then it jumps up and runs off like that never happened.
Yeah.
I mean, hit it with a vehicle, and it's just like, no, I'm good, bro.
Yeah, nah, brush it
There's
off. I ain't got no insurance. I gotta go.
There's a
Here's $20. I gotta roll.
there's that 3-year-old buck at the same property that's got 3 legs,
Yeah.
and he's still kicking. Man.
Dude, I don't know how a Yodi hasn't got that dude yet.
Yeah.
That's
Who
wild.
knows? Who knows? But deer are very resilient.
Yeah.
No, super. So, I mean, incredible animals.
Yeah.
So, my favorite hunting story, yet again, it might not be his top tier, but it was my first dove hunt. That's one of mine that I will put in my pocket forever. And go out with a buddy, and he's hunting with his grandpa and all of his friends. So it's me, still 20 some odd years old, but just have never been on a dove hunt before. So it's like, all right, cool. We're just going to figure this out on the fly real quick.
What do we?
So
No puns intended.
everybody meets up at the house, and we're like, all right, cool. So, who's taking the new guy?
They're like drawing straws.
Right, exactly. Like that's exactly what it felt like. It was like, who's taking the new guy? And somebody said, you can go hunt with Pee-wee. And I'm like, all right, here we go. This is how the story starts, right?
I'd have been like, hell yeah.
Yeah. So he was like, I'll take him. He's like, you ever shot a dove? No, sir. He's like, you shot clays before, right? And I was like, yeah, I've shot clays. He's like, good. Hey, this ain't nothing like shooting clays. I was like, all right, here we go. So me and him walk to the farthest point in the field, and we sit down. Well, doves start flying. And, we're calling, on the power line, by the trees, like, dove hunting stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there kind of wide-eyed, like, I ain't used to, Hey, Ridge, I'll go ahead and take one if you giving them out here.
Me too.
So, quick question: is this like a summer hunt? Is this like
it
a
was,
cold
it
hunt?
was, well, it
Thanks,
wasn't
sir.
quite summer, but it was
like a warmer hunt. though?
September. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
short sleeve hunt.
Those are the
Bob.
best.
You want a White Claw?
No, I'll take a bush light.
Okay, that's what I asked.
What Ridge was asking, by the way, if nobody heard that, I may or may not have been drinking White Claws before the podcast, but hey, 5%, 100 calories, 2 grams of carbs, delicious.
I like them. I'll say it.
Thank you.
I like them.
Yeah, I was just trying to cover the spread
Am I
here.
paused here?
Now you are.
All right, good. Well, whatever you say to make you feel better and help you sleep at night, Rain.
I'm dove hunting, right?
With Pee-wee, yeah.
With Pee-wee. And Pee-wee, too, is not a very big guy, as you can imagine, right? Like, he's...
I would have never thought that.
Right.
Surprise.
So, but this was the first day I met him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know this guy before now. And so, dove flies over. I shoot. I have a 878 Remington semi-automatic gun. Boom! Missed the dove. He goes, that's the weirdest looking single shot I've ever seen in my life. And I said, well, it's a semi-automatic. He said, so why the hell do you still have 2 rounds left in that gun? And he said, if you're worried about ammo, and lifted up one armrest of his chair, he said, I got 3 bricks over here. And he said, don't make me open up the other side of this armrest. After that, I think we ended up shooting, between all of us, probably, I don't know, 30, 40 doves.
It's good day.
Yeah, no, it was a great
Well,
day.
was there 30 or 40 people?
No, not quite. But it was...
So, how many people was there? A couple man limit.
No, we were definitely under the limit.
Well,
but,
obviously. I mean, we followed the law.
Were you under the influence?
no, not at all. No, fully sober.
So, and that was your favorite dove hunt?
So, no, this is my favorite hunting story.
Oh, okay.
Because he looks at me and he goes, you should have been out here on opening day. And I was like, why's that? He goes, man, them dove are flying. He said they had a little tailwind behind them. He said they were darting left and right. He said, man, you should have been out here. He said, I had to call my buddy out in North Dakota and go, man, this thing might be better than sex right here. He said, I had to put my drink down long enough to reload my gun. He said, because if I could reload my gun fast enough, it'd have been red hot out here at the end of this thing. So for me, that was probably like, it was one of them. I won't say my top, but it would be one of my favorite hunting adventures ever.
Yeah. Shout out Pee Wee.
Yeah. Shout out old Pee Wee.
It's hard to beat a dove hunt where you're just screaming, hollering, shooting the whole time, and you just can't keep up reloading. I mean,
oh yeah, that's the best.
When doves are flying by you and you're trying to reload your gun to keep up, I mean that's the best it can get in the dove hunt world right there.
Could have been like the last time I went dove hunting with old Mike over here. We had 40+ mile an hour wind gusts, so if you were shooting into the wind, the dove were sitting still. But if you were shooting with the wind, they were about 150 mile an hour past you. It looked like a little missile running by.
Literally, like someone was throwing a rock. We left with a few though.
Yeah.
Oh, we did. No, I mean, and two, I personally, I believe that dove might be the most expensive animal you could ever hunt. I mean, as much lead as we shot at them, for as little as we got, I think the price of it went up beyond filet and beyond lobster.
Yeah, it is an exotic animal for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, filet mignon of the sky. I mean, it's hard to beat though. You wrap it in bacon, throw it on the grill. I mean,
No, talk to
eat
me.
it.
Camo.
Yeah, no, that was a good time though.
No, dude, 100% a blast.
It
We'll
always is.
forever
Yeah.
do it again.
Because it was you and Red Dot sitting beside you.
Yeah.
Ben showed up
Yeah,
with a
yank a turkey gun out for the doves.
I said, Ben, what are you doing with that? He said, I have one shotgun that does everything. So another guy
Wise
that
man.
we ended up running into, a dove was on the ground, and some people might say that, it is not unethical but unsportsmanlike to shoot a dove on the ground. I say,
Not around here.
Yeah, no, for as much lead as we were throwing out there, you smoked that thing wherever it lied.
100%.
They
But the
taste
guy-
same.
Yep. You ain't got to look for him either. You know exactly where it's at.
Nor do you got to chase them. When they get
it's
to
right
flapping and hopping, they a little faster than you think.
For real, it's like a chicken, man.
But the guy looked at me and he said, "Hey, Red Dot, go ahead and take this one."
I mean, best opportunity in the world to use your red dot dove hunting.
Oh, yeah,
Is
100%.
on the ground.
Yeah,
But see,
100%.
You don't shoot dove like ducks. You don't water swat them.
Nah. Now, in Ben's defense, I saw a little commercial on my phone for Beretta shotguns that were coming out. They got this white camo one, and they were hunting snow geese. And they had a suppressor on this 12-gauge shotgun with a red dot,
Damn.
and they were laying them down.
Maybe I'm on something. You guys.
Dude, I stood up for the red dot.
Maybe he had the snow geese set up during dove season.
That's
and
the
I mean,
problem.
Well,
Yeah, that's good.
Snow geese are a lot slower than doves too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
especially in
Doves
40
move
mile
quick.
an hour winds.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
Y'all all said y'all wanted to go.
When,
But
hey,
hey,
when
dang,
them
it was fun.
geese come into land and they start backpedaling, a red dot's the best thing you can have. You can't miss their head. They're looking straight at you.
but I will say this:
I can.
the last dove hunt I went on,
Well, don't bring it up.
might have been spitting snow and freezing rain and sleeting and snowing all through this.
Yeah.
About an hour and a half into it, I said, "What are we doing?
Oh, yeah.
Like this is beyond
I
ridiculous
called
here."
out on that one. I said, no,
Smart, man.
no, that's for
Smart.
you guys. Y'all go.
You
go
missed
for
the
it.
experience, Ben. That's the thing. You don't
That's
go for
okay,
you go
man.
for the experience.
It was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Time,
I really
it
think-
was beautiful. It really was.
I can imagine.
Hey, we left with one dove.
We did. We did. While we were warming up the trucks, for some reason, one poor little dove decided to fly across the field, and Mike said, "Hey, it's a single dove."
No, Rich said, shoot it.
Hey, 100% on the hunt. 100%.
Yeah, we were one
You
for
can't
one.
beat those odds. Like
No,
I mean,
yeah.
100% on the hunt.
In MLB, we hit 1,000. Like,
That's what I'm saying.
One dove, it hit the ground.
Yeah,
One shot, one dove.
3 shots.
Mike, I was trying to help you out, but call yourself out. I don't
Yet
know.
again,
I don't want people thinking I'm more
we
than I
don't
am.
we don't lie.
Yeah,
we
I
don't
know.
lie.
Oh, it was 3 shots.
Oh, Rite over here.
Yeah, Rite 3 shots. I hit more doves than Ridge's Browning did.
Well, hey, maybe you need to try shooting that Browning.
Shit, I might shoot it better than you.
You can buy it.
No, I can't afford it.
Well, 10-4. I think on that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. It's been a blast.
Yeah,
Thank you again, Ben Minnix. Thank you again, Mike Barton. Thank you, Ridge. Mr. Atkins over there in the corner.
Oh, shout out. Happy birthday to Ridge Atkins.
No,
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Had to tell everybody.
At the end of it.
I could have stayed young, but just tell everybody I'm getting older.
Now all 6 people are going to know.
Yeah, I know.
The tens of people that listen to this
Hey.
is going to know.
12 people is more than it needs to be.
That's a good point.
I got you. So, hey, appreciate it, fellas. I think this is going to be wrapping us up. We will have more to come by far. It's been a blast. Thank you, fellas, and I think we're out of here.
Thank you.